Hi and welcome to the Bookkeepers podcast. I'm Zoe Whitman. I'm here with Joe Wood and we're joined by Malek from FreeAgent. Hi Jem, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you getting on?
We're good, really good. It's so nice to talk to you always, Jem. And
No.
just before we started, we were just talking about how forgiving the bookkeeping community is, and just how we all love having a chat, and maybe people love it when we just have a chat. So we're here today because we want to talk to Jem about FreeAgent's Bookkeepers Boost week, which is always an amazing week of lots of training. It's a really good opportunity to get some CPD, and we'd really encourage you to register and try and go to some of the sessions. Joe's involved in some of the sessions as well. But before we start, Jem, do you want to just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what FreeAgent do as well, please?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Jem. You might have seen me on this podcast before because it is my third time. I'm so happy to be back again on this podcast. So, I am an account manager at FreeAgent. So, I am looking after our accounting and bookkeeping partners in Northwest London. However, I'm based here in Edinburgh, which is great. I mean, not always very sunny, but I do love it here. And yeah, I work for FreeAgent. So, FreeAgent are a bookkeeping software company for your kind of small and micro business clients. So those really tiny, tiny clients, that's who we kind of suit our product for. And that's me.
Perfect. Okay, so we know that we've got Bookkeepers Boost Week coming up, which is coming up on the week of the 5th of June.
That's
And
right.
tell us a little bit about what happens during that week for anyone who doesn't know about it.
Yeah, it's really exciting actually. So that Bookkeeper Boost Week, it's called Bookkeeper Boost Week, but it's not just for bookkeepers, anyone in the financial services industry. So accountants, I'm looking at you. You can come along and basically, yeah, we just try and have a session each day where we're really delivering webinars that are great for bookkeepers. So just allowing you to get some more learning, connect with your community, and find out a bit more about the industry. It's just a week of basically focused events for all of you bookkeepers to learn something new.
And what are the things that usually, I know that we chat about, what's going on in the industry so that you know what topics are going to be discussed. Can you give us a bit of an overview of what we're going to be expecting the chat to be about?
Yeah, definitely. So it's an array of topics, to be honest with you. So we've got a webinar on the cost of living crisis and how to kind of boost your immunity through the cost of living crisis. It's all fruit themed, so you'll find some like smoothie puns in there, which we love. Squeezing the most out of your practice processes. So that's all about, your tech stack and best practice within bookkeeping. And then we've got preparing your practice to flourish. So that's all about your future proofing your business. And again, just getting those best practices kind of installed in your business. Then we've got key ingredients for healthy onboarding. So that's all about onboarding your clients, of course. And then on the Friday, that's the session that I will be hosting, which is a live panel. And that is all about the fruitful future of bookkeeping. So yeah, just looking ahead and seeing what we think is going to be happening in the industry and how you guys can, make the most out of like this opportunity for you and for your clients.
I love that. I love all of the puns as well, like the
Same.
ingredients and the fruitful. And it is, I think, do you know what? In this kind of sometimes accountancy world, things can look a bit stale, things can look a bit stagnant. We've got someone here that joined last year and said, "Love my fruity smoothie from last year." What
Love
was that about?
Well, we were actually did a bit of a like giveaway last year for these little smoothie makers, so it might be one of those that they've taken away. But yeah, we've got like lots of little exciting opportunities and things. And yeah, as I say, using the fruit theme again because it was like just too good not to use it again this year.
Yeah.
And we have like a great design team who have all these lovely little like fruity images for all of our slides and everything, which is great. It's just so much fun.
We love them. We feel like the whole brand at FreeAgent is really like fun and fresh. And I always love your stands at events. Everything always it just looks really good. So we've called this like session, where to spend your CPD time. Now, I think, we need to remember that we have brand new people listening to us now that are maybe thinking about, do I want to be a bookkeeper in the future? Do I want to start some training and things? And then we talk about things like CPD. So can we explain what CPD is and how FreeAgent's Bookkeeper Boost Week is going to help you get some CPD points?
Yeah, absolutely. So CPD points, if you don't already know, is continuing professional development. And yeah, CPD points are a way for you to track your learning and make the most out of your learning and collect all those kind of points. So there's a range of places where you can get more CPD points. So we just had Accountex a couple of weeks ago, and there was loads of learning opportunities there for you to. Hey, Joe. I hope I wasn't boring you. But yeah, so CPD points are a great way of you to track your learning. You collect those points, and it kind of it gives you, I suppose, something to show for all that learning that you're doing. And what I find working with bookkeepers is you're all so keen to learn and so keen to take in as much information as possible, which is really lovely. And this is a way of kind of almost not proving that you've done that, but it's something to show for it, and it's a really nice way of tracking your learning.
I love events like this because I'm a member of 2 professional bodies which have different reporting different times to renew my membership. So I'm always like aware of like making sure that I've got the CPD and having that like spread of CPD learning over the year. So I like to have like little bursts of things. So when something like this comes up and you can register for a few things and obviously choose the things which are relevant for you and what you want to be doing in the future. That is just a really good way to get that little cluster of things done. And actually, when you go and write it all down, it's always really surprising how much you're doing. But I think sometimes when it comes to renewal time, it's like, oh my gosh, have I done it all? So I think it's good to keep on top of it as you're working through. If you have before felt that feeling of, I don't know if I'm actually going to get all of I can remember years and years ago, when I worked in and like training accountancy role in a corporate, thinking, I need to get, so many hours. And the only options used to be where you go for like a weekend somewhere and you'd spend thousands of pounds going to an event. And there's so much CPD, which is available now, which is free, which is actually really interesting. And it's about stuff that you really want to know about. So I think it's a really good thing to just have in the calendar and know that's coming up.
Definitely. And like that's the benefit of coming out of COVID, and now that we're able to deliver more virtual events, that's the really great benefit, is that it doesn't necessarily have to take up your whole week or your whole weekend. Actually, you can sit and maybe like listen to a podcast or watch a webinar, and you're still keeping up with it. And it's not just the CPD points you can get out of these sessions, it's actually being able to take those learnings and then use them to grow or develop your business or improve those practice processes. So it's all about what you can offer to your clients and how you can get the most out of that opportunity as well.
And that's the great thing about Bookkeepers Boost Week, is that you are really there helping us to boost our practices, not just tell us, like, it's not a continuous software demo.
Absolutely.
And I think what I like about it is that, and I don't know if you're doing this again this time, but at the end of the session, you'll say, if you want to stay on and have a look about the demo, you can have a look at FreeAgent more closely then, but you give people the opportunity to learn the learnings. And then if they want to do that, which I think is really refreshing in, in this world full of software, we could literally watch a software demo every single minute of every single day and never get to the end of all the different software that's out there. So I think it's a really great way to show like the values, the ethos behind the brand at FreeAgent, which I think is such a great selling point, and the support and what a lovely team you've got, rather than just showing us behind the scenes all the time. But then it's really helpful to have that opportunity to go and have a look at the demo when you want to, because you're going to fall in love with the FreeAgent team and think, these are going to be great. Great to support. And it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to being part of a couple of the sessions in the Bookkeepers Boost Week. I know that we've got Mark Farrington, who's in our Success Lounge as well. He's joining as well. And I believe there's someone else as well from our community as well.
Yeah, we've got a few. So we've got a few bookkeepers from your community that are joining, which is really exciting. Also a few from ICB, which is lovely to see as well. And that's what I really love, is how connected bookkeepers are with their community. And bookkeepers and accountants are really at the center of what we do. And particularly for bookkeeping, I'm all about championing like bookkeeping being like a career of choice and really empowering people to go out and, start their own business or go into bookkeeping. And so it's just lovely to be able to offer that. And I think you're right. It's like FreeAgent's my baby, because that's where I work. But software isn't always going to be your baby, you know, and it's all about what other learning opportunities you can have other than just this is how the product works. And because you're right, you could just spend days and days and hours looking at different software products, but you need to take in the information that's relevant for you.
Yeah. Do you, when, as a bookkeeper, when you're thinking about planning your learning for the year ahead, what kind of things should you be thinking about building it? Like, I'm just wondering, I don't know, and maybe people who are listening to this live can let us know in the comments. Do you make a plan for your CPD for the coming year? Do you think about what you'd like to be working on, like what specific skill sets? Like, I have a couple of like projects that I'm like, I'd like to know more about this, and so I'm going to seek out learning related to that. And I wonder whether people build those kind of things into a CPD plan. I'm just wondering what should you be thinking about in terms of how you build that plan up for the year?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one size definitely doesn't fit all when it comes to, you know, bookkeeping, technology, or when it comes to learning. So it's really about, like I say, finding what's relevant for you. And I do think planning out your CPD learning is a really good opportunity and really good idea to look ahead. And also, there's things that like keeping up with your accreditation with the software that you're doing that often carries CPD points. I know ours does. So that's something you can do kind of throughout the year to remind yourself about the product updates, keep up with that. But when you're looking at kind of planning your learning out, I would say don't be tempted to just take absolutely everything that's going. You know, you just won't have all the time in the world to do that. But really research and take a little bit of time to invest in researching so that you can figure out, you know, what looks interesting, what do you want to learn more about, and then there's staples that are always going to be important to keep up with. So obviously technology, it's advancing all the time. Whichever software you use, it's always going to be, you know, having product updates and things. So those are things that should be kind of staples on your list. But maybe you're finding that, you know, you're finding it hard to find clients at the moment. So that's an opportunity to look into, you know, more marketing side of things or onboarding. So I think make a plan, but also, you know, a bit of a politician's answer, but make a plan and also try to be a bit flexible. You know, and keeping up with the industry is something that's really important to do, and lean on your software providers for that as well. You know, ask them to keep you in touch with what's going on.
That's so important and really great. And I suppose you got to think, you know, you could break it down really, couldn't you? So firstly, you need to figure out where it is that your professional body are expecting you to record this. Then you need to know how many points you need to gain in the year and what does that look like in versus structured and unstructured, and kind of create a list of what are these, what is structured for your professional body and what is unstructured. And sometimes they carry different weights. So structure might be 1 hour equals 1 point, where unstructured might be 1 whole hour of doing something might give you half a point. So it depends on your professional body. And then you've got to think about the different things that are CPD. So going to a live event like Accountex, that carries some CPD points. Coming, you know, watching our podcast is unstructured CPD. But then our program is structured and you get a proper certificate at the end of it. So our 6-month success program is 30 hours and our startup program is 6. So you could do courses and things like that. But that is business development rather than your technical. So, and it's so funny you said that, Zoe. I remember being new in my accountancy firm. I mean, I must have been 17, 18. And I remember going in the partner's Jag, driving to Gatwick to this stale hotel to go and learn about a VAT update. And I remember the custard creams and the rows of teacups and saucers, sitting there with my pen and pad in a sea of men, all looking at the front, looking at this like, what was, you know, like this board that was, or lit up like an LED, you know, oh, what's the projector?
Yeah.
Watching all about this VAT, being so bored. Do you remember that, Zoe?
Oh, yeah, I spent 4 days in Torquay doing a VAT update for local government once. So.
Oh, gosh. That's the thing. The content, I think, used to be, I mean, I don't know, because I've not been in this industry for as long as you guys have, but the content used to be really dry and really quite, I don't know, unengaging. And you just think, well, if I'm not inspired by this, how can I possibly like reiterate this to my clients and make them be inspired by what we're doing and see the value in me? So it's nice to have events like Bookkeeper Boost Week, where honestly I do feel like the content's really engaging, not just because I have to say that. I do, and like part of our ethos and what we were talking about before is having, it's not always about what you say, but it's how you say it, you know. So having that approachable, friendly, laid back kind of structure is really lovely and just encourages you to want to go to these things and learn more.
Absolutely. And what I like about it as well is that it's held in Zoom rooms. So you're going to be able, you know, mine and Zoe's like values of community. This is about broadening your you know, your connections, finding other like-minded people that are going to get their CPD points, going to learn about what's going on in the industry, keeping up to date, and, you know, not just about the technical side, but having conversations around the idea of building profitable businesses that work for you. So, and, you know, there's people in FreeAgent that may not have heard about Six Figure and vice versa. So you might bump into new people, and it's about watching those, you know, comments going on and the interaction. I know you like people to get really involved as well. So you might find other people, you might find some business besties, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Definitely. It was so lovely to be at Accountex, and I know you guys popped by our stand, but just seeing how many people actually knew each other or were starting up new conversations, you know, I love that. And in person isn't the only way to get that kind of sense of community. I know that you guys have your Facebook group and other opportunities as well, and it's about just taking in as much of that as you can, and really it's an opportunity to give back to others, as well as to, you know, take in that sense of camaraderie amongst yourselves, amongst the bookkeeper community.
Oh, it's so exciting. And you're giving opportunities to bookkeepers as well to get out of their comfort zone, to be on panels. And, you know, and that's the kind of thing, I know, Jem, that, you know, if there's any, you know, people that are using FreeAgent that want that opportunity to be involved a bit more, maybe they'll watch it this year and get brave to reach out and say, you know, I might be able to have a chat as well, like Mark and like Susanna as well. Susanna's
yes, Susanna.
She's gonna be speaking to, and I think our values and our ethos, and we're very much like that as well, giving bookkeepers the opportunity to get on the podcast and talk and share their views, because we're all so different in our approaches, and that's what, you know, me and Zoe are always talking about, the fact that we all build different businesses for different reasons, and we want to serve different clients, and that is all okay. It's not cookie cutter, and that's fine. And I think the more we hear from different people and how they're doing things, and they've got different views, makes us feel, okay, I can get to choose. I don't have to follow. I know when I first started my practice, I just thought, when I was employed, what were they doing? What were the service they were doing? So I even invested in those paper folders with the little wiggly bits in the middle, you know, the springs, so that I could create working papers. And so then I felt like that's what I should be doing, because it's learnt, isn't it? You think, well, if that's what they were doing, that must be what I should be doing. Whereas now, just like how we can access CPD points is completely vast and varied, how we build our practices are very vast and varied, and it's all should be celebrated and should be exciting that it's all different. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. So how do people, if they're thinking, well, Boost Week, Bookkeeper Boost Week with FreeAgent sounds like something I should definitely learn more about and register, what do they need to do?
Well, I think everyone listening to this is obviously thinking that, because it's such a great opportunity. So yeah, you can head to freeagent.com/boost, and that's where you'll be able to register for the events. And these events are they're webinars, so they're live, but you know, if you just got a lot on that week, then we will record all the sessions and we'll email them over to you. So I always say to my partners, you know, just register, you'll get an email and you can watch it in your own time if that's what you want to do. But yeah, you can head there, and do you know what? There's a lot of other resources there on our website. So it's not just about Bookkeeper Boost Week. It's not just about the webinars. There's like blog articles and partnerships that we've got established where you're able to kind of go in and have a look at what else we're doing. And yeah, just continue to learn as much as possible.
Oh, that's really fab. I think that I think lots of people will be registering. We'll make sure we share this
so.
community. I think it's such a good opportunity to, like we said, have that kind of little hit on your CPD. One of the things I think people really struggle with is finding time for anything, really. Let's be real. We're going to be driven by our to-do list and what feels really urgent, and sometimes it's really easy to put training to the bottom of the list. Now I know these are recorded, which is really good, and Joe and I would always say, like, go along to things live if you can, because it's the best way to get involved. Generally, like as a rule of thumb, how is it best to approach the time that you need for CPD throughout the year? Like, would you be putting time in the diary every month, or what works well from your conversations with people?
Yeah, I think that from my conversations with other people, and also just from my own personal practices, I would say always put some time in your diary for, you know, those things that are really important to you. My manager, if he watches this, he'll be laughing because I always say to him, if it's not in my diary, it's not happening. Like, it doesn't exist unless it's in my Google Calendar. So like, I have my nail appointments in there. I have every meeting with clients in there. And I do think it gives you a really good visual on, you know, what's important, and learning should always be one of those things. So what time you can spare, definitely pop it in your diary and try and stick to it. I always think about what Joe said, I think the first time I was on this podcast, about hiring a cleaner when you start your bookkeeping practice. And I do think it's like such a good ethos that when you're starting, you know, you need to squeeze out some priorities, or what are priorities right now, to make room for others. And, you know, your clients are always going to be at the forefront of your mind. So the best way that you can help them is to know as much as possible. So without giving as much time to that as you realistically can, you can't expect to kind of grow your practice or look after them as well as you possibly could. Does that make sense? I feel like sometimes I go a bit off topic with
No, you're absolutely right. I think exactly that. Roz is here, and she said, what gets measured gets done. And
Love
I think
that.
Have it in the diary, like decide I'm going to commit this much time a week or a month to training, and then
Absolutely.
put things in the diary. I've got things on a list. Like, if I've registered for something and haven't watched it yet, I have it as a not done yet on my list of CPD, so I know what I can do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think it's like you see opportunities and you think, I could register for all the things, but I haven't got time to register and do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let's just go back to the plan. What do I need to be working on this year? And then choosing the things that are relevant. So,
and you guys have your accountability, correct me if I'm wrong, accountability hour, accountability.
We do a Friday morning accountability session with our members in the Success Lounge. So we get people together for 2 hours, and that's a great time to do this kind of stuff as well.
I love that. It wasn't actually, I didn't hear about it from you guys, but I heard about it from, I think, Susanna, who was telling me about it, or it might have been someone else. And I just love that, because I do think it's protected time to be able to, you know, go and get stuff done. We do at FreeAgent, the account managers, we do like a heads down power hour at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday sometimes. And it does, you just get your head down and you give yourself that sense of like, almost competitiveness, but just within yourself, that like, this needs to get done now. And that's a really good way of getting these things done, is, you know, taking the opportunities that you've got with Six Figure Bookkeeper, go to that accountability session and get those CPD points in.
Absolutely. And I think, like Zoe said, it is about creating a plan for this. So things like something we're implementing as well as part of the accountability is having an MLR accountability session, where people come along and do whatever it is that they need to do on their checklist for that every month, because there are things like MLR and CPD and other, maybe like if you're part of a community, like, you know, in a membership, that you'll want to go to certain sessions, but you've got to fit in your client work, and you've got to fit in the things you need to do. And like today, we run a finance session for our members to do their own finances, not their clients, because or else when are you going to fit this in? And you have to realize that you need to prioritize your time. And this is, we were having a conversation just beforehand about how much bookkeeping does Zoe and I do anymore. And to be honest, we have to, I don't do any. I know how to go into my software and look for things for my clients to pull out information, but it's not the best use of my time anymore. It's not the best use of my time, because that's, my business has got to that point where I'm, you know, I'm serving others and my clients in different ways. And it's not the best, I'm not the best bookkeeper anymore. And that's okay. But you've got to figure out where you're going to leverage your time and focus your time. And for me, I know that if I stop, like if I'm not making dinner and cooking for my family, then that just makes me feel bad. That's one of my values, is family. And I need to, that is my like love language, feeding everybody.
Same.
Yes. This morning, my daughter got up for her GCSE exam. She has to be at school at 8 a.m. And at 7:10, she said, my best friend's sisters had to go to hospital. No one can get her to school. So it's so funny. My husband's first thought is, right, planning the journey because it's out of our trip. Have we got the petrol? And mine is she's going to need feeding. So I got up and I made 2 big pack ups and food and everything. And my daughter looked at me like, why do you even think of that? But that's,
I love that though.
And her mum's just actually messaged me just before I get on that. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I hadn't even thought about like the food for the day. So it's really interesting. We have to prioritize those things that boost us up, build us up, make us feel like we are living to our values. They need to be first in the diary. And then there are the things like CPD. CPD isn't a value. CPD is not going to be, CPD is one of my lifelong values that I need to do. It's not, but it's a must do, a bit like your MLR. And you've got to get those things in, and you've got to get the client work in. But sometimes when things like CPD and MLR fall off of the list because client work becomes the priority, they're the things that trip us up and make us like not sleep at night and lose that kind of control. And something that I've learned recently, I was sharing this with the client yesterday, is that I know that lots of my clients have got like ADHD or neurodiverse. And I definitely think there might be something going on with me because I find it really hard I procrastinate and I have this massive to-do list and then I get distracted. And a top tip, this is just random, I've started listening to something called brown noise on YouTube. So
I've heard of this, yes.
I put my headphones in and I give myself 20 minutes, just a short burst. And I tend to end up doing a bit more because I get in the zone. But this noise just cancels everything out. But it's cancelling the internal dialogue that I have going on, which is a little bit mad. And it just stops all of that. And I actually can focus on tasks. So especially one of my bugbears is emails. Like, I've got all these emails to deal with. If I put my headphones on, put my brown noise on, I can get through them really quick. So that might help somebody if you've got some of these tasks that you need to do, but don't really want to do, and they're not part of your like exciting values, then just try some brown noise on YouTube.
Absolutely. I agree. And it's about finding what works for you, because we're all different people. We all work and learn in different ways. So it might take a little bit of time before you realize. I used to always listen to Taylor Swift when I was working, but now I've fallen in love with her and I actually can't because it just distracts me. I want to sing too much. So, I mean, you just need to take a bit of time to figure out what it is that's going to make you the most productive. And like you're saying, I mean, it's only right for your mental health to be able to not only look at the commercial aspect of your business and not only look at the things that absolutely need to get done, but what things make you feel good, and make sure you make time for those as well.
I just love Rosie's comment. She went, love that. You have to schedule time for what feeds your soul and what keeps you out of jail. Food and MLR, I hear you. That is
love that.
I love it. I love it. Like anything that's going to help you be accountable, whether it's someone that having an accountability partner, like, we were talking about the accountability sessions where people are there and you're there with people and you're doing it together. And there's something about showing up for something that makes you want to do the thing because you feel like you're going to let people down if you don't do it. Like the step down from that is having an appointment in your diary. Even, FreeAgent software, we're talking about bookkeeping. I get the Monday motivator on a Monday morning. I log into FreeAgent. So, it's an automated email, but it keeps me accountable. And I think that whatever works for you is going to be the thing that keeps you on track with whatever has to happen in your business. It's just deciding what those things are and setting those frameworks up that are going to support you.
Definitely. And you know what, I know that a lot of bookkeepers out there are self-employed, or they're running their own business, particularly the ones that are part of this community. And I think that can be lonely. Like, not to sugarcoat it, it can be quite lonely being, a sole business owner, and we see that a lot. So, these things, yes, they're CPD time and that's really important, but also you can connect with others who will give you that accountability or that support to be able to go out and, achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve for yourself or for your business or for your clients, whatever it is. So don't kind of bury your head in the sand. Don't be an island. Like, take in all of that opportunity that you've got.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really excited to hear about Boost Week, and thanks for telling us all about it. I'm sure that we will see lots of friends that we know there. So
I hope so.
Do register freeagent.com/boost, and the replays are available. And I guess the replays are going to be there for a while, Gem, are they? If people are listening in the future.
Actually, funny you ask that, because we were talking about this yesterday about when videos kind of get taken off our website, and usually we keep them up kind of indefinitely unless they become really irrelevant. I mean, we've still got all of our MTD videos on there. Spoiler alert, it's not accurate anymore. It has been pushed, but they'll be up there for quite some time. So definitely, if you can't get along, you'll be able to catch them in retrospect.
Perfect. Oh, thank you, Jem, so much for being here. Lovely to see you.
Thanks
everyone.
For having me.
And thanks everyone who's listened and shared their comments and their thoughts as well. Really nice to see you here. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Bookkeepers podcast. Take care. Bye.
Bye.